All right, let's get into it. So, if you've ever stepped onto a yoga mat, you've definitely heard about asana, the postures, and pranayama, the breathing. But what about that all-important step that comes right after them? Today, we're going to talk about pratyahara, yoga's often forgotten but totally powerful fifth limb. But first, let me ask you something. Do you ever feel like your attention is just being yanked in a million different directions at once? You get to the end of the day and you're just completely wiped out, not from physical work, but just from everything. Yeah, I'm guessing that sounds familiar. We're all living in this constant storm of sensory input. It's a never-ending flood of notifications, alerts, ads, social feeds, and just noise. We're being bombarded all day, every day. And honestly, it's by design. And that really brings us to our first big idea here, our world of distraction. You see, our whole commercial, media-driven world pretty much works by grabbing our attention through our senses. We're so used to it that we don't even notice we've kind of become hostages to all this external stimulation. This slide just nails the problem, doesn't it? In Ayurveda, there's this idea that sensory impressions are basically food for the mind. And just like junk food can make your body feel toxic, these junk impressions do the same thing to your mind. Think about it. Junk food needs tons of salt and sugar because it's basically dead food. Well, junk impressions, which are really just colors on a screen, they need drama and violence to feel real and to keep us hooked. So what do we do? How do we possibly fight back against this sensory overload? Well, the answer is ancient, but it's never been more relevant, which leads us to yoga's forgotten fifth limb. You see, in the classical yoga path laid out by Patanjali, there are 8 steps, or 8 limbs. Now, most of us know asana and pranayama, the physical stuff, but look what's sitting right there in the middle, at number 5, pratyahara, the withdrawal of the senses. It's this pivotal step that so many modern yoga practices just kind of skip right over. And this is exactly why it's so important. Pratyahara is the bridge. It connects the outer world to the inner world. You can't just jump from doing physical poses straight into deep meditation. Pratyahara is that essential transition, the link that connects your body to your mind. So what does this word pratyahara actually mean? Well, it's made up of 2 Sanskrit terms, prati, which means against or away, and ahara, which means food or really anything we take in from the outside. So put them together, and pratyahara literally means control of ahara. It's about gaining mastery over all those external things we're constantly consuming through our senses. I absolutely love this analogy. It just makes the whole concept click. Practicing pratyahara is like being a turtle. When the outside world gets too loud, too chaotic, you consciously pull your limbs, your senses, back into the safety and quiet of your shell, which is your mind. Now, this whole idea goes even deeper. It's not just one single thing. There are actually 4 different ways to think about this withdrawal. And that brings us to our next section, the 4 paths inward. So you've got control of the senses, control of our vital energy or prana, control of action, and then the withdrawal of the mind itself. For today, we're really going to zero in on that first one, Indriya Pratyahara, control of the senses, because you could argue it's the most important and desperately needed practice for us right now. Okay, so we get the what and the why. Now for the really good part, the how. Let's look at some super practical ways you can actually bring this ancient idea into your very modern life. And look, it doesn't have to be this big, complicated thing. Just like our bodies feel better when we fast from food, our minds feel better when we fast from impressions. You could try a media fast for a day, or go out in nature and just stare at the sky. You could even bring positive sensory stuff into your space, like incense or flowers. Or honestly, the simplest way to start, just sit down and close your eyes for 5 minutes. That's it. That's the beginning of Pratyahara. Now, if you want something a bit more structured, you have to check out Yoga Nidra. It's often called yogic sleep, but that's a little misleading because you're not actually trying to fall asleep. It's about getting to the state of super deep consciousness between waking and sleeping. It's an amazing systematic practice designed to guide you straight into Pratyahara. So a basic Yoga Nidra practice has a pretty clear flow. First, you just lie down and notice all the sounds and feelings around you until your mind just gets bored and naturally turns inward. Then you do this systematic rotation of your awareness through every single part of your body. And finally, you slowly, gently bring your attention back out into the room. It's such a profound way to practice withdrawing and then returning. Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. Pratyahara doesn't always mean you have to shut your eyes. There's an advanced technique called Shambhavi Mudra, where you actually sit with your eyes open, maybe gazing up towards your brow, but you consciously pull your attention inward. The whole point is to train your mind to stay withdrawn and focused, even when your senses are technically still open for business. And you know what? We can even find Pratyahara in the yoga that so many of us already do. When you're holding a yoga pose, the real goal isn't just to make the perfect shape, right? It's to turn your attention inward, to feel the stretch, to notice your breath, to quiet the outside world. That internal focus you find on the mat, that's Pratyahara in action. So, what's the big picture here? What's the whole point of all this? It really comes down to reclaiming your inner world. It's about taking back the power to decide where your most precious resource, your attention, actually goes. I want you to think about it like this. Pratyahara is like building an immune system for your mind. A healthy body can fight off germs, right? While a mind that's strengthened by this practice can ward off that constant storm of negative sensory input without getting totally thrown off course. There's this quote that just perfectly captures why this is so critical. If you've ever sat down to meditate and felt like your mind just will not shut up, it's probably because the vessel of your mind is full of leaks. Pratyahara is the practice of sealing those holes so your mind can finally hold that stillness and clarity you're looking for. And that really just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. In a world that's literally designed to capture your every waking moment, what changes when you learn to consciously pull back? What becomes possible in your life, in your work, in your own head, when you are no longer a hostage to your senses?